What is going on, folks? I hope you're staying safe and staying healthy and staying home if at all possible. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're not going to play the guitars. We're going to break this down now, because basically, since we now know the minor pentatonic across the entire fretboard, we've actually uncovered a super secret magical thing about the guitar. And that is, knowing the minor pentatonic means that technically, and I'm going to show you how, we also know the natural minor scale, which is the Aeolian mode. And knowing the minor pentatonic scale across the entire fretboard also means that we know the major pentatonic scale. And then that means we also know the major scale, the Ionian mode. So by learning minor pentatonic, we actually learned 4 full scales. And today I'm going to show you exactly what I mean and how that works. Let's do this. Alright, before we get started on this kind of fantastic discovery that I've made here, maybe some of you already know this one and you're like, well, that's cool, then just move on to the next episode. But for me, this was mind-blowing to finally see this. And the reason why I saw it is because I have finally learned minor pentatonic across the entire fretboard. And before, like I said, before we jump into this though, I just want to make sure we're staying on schedule. So we're going to continue doing the snake or zigzag, right, where we do shape 1 and then come back down on shape 2 and do that up and down the fretboard. And remember to also be making sure that you're singing the scale degree and the note names. And that's really important, especially at this stage, because we're now unlocking the fretboard and knowing all the notes on the fretboard. But also by doing the scale degrees, it's going to help us when we do this sort of formula shift that I'm going to go over here. It's going to help us a lot, especially when we're shifting to the Aeolian or the Ionian from pentatonic. So here's what we've got. This is the minor pentatonic, right? These rectangles represent the minor pentatonic. If these are all the notes of the Aeolian mode, which is the natural minor scale, right? Natural minor has 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, and then it repeats. Well, check it out. I mean, with minor pentatonic, basically what we've been locking into our mind is 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7. So really all we have to do to fit the minor scale into our routine is add the 2 and also add a flat 6, right? So, and this is obviously a whole step away here. So knowing when we're going from the root, this is really easy to know. I mean, you basically just add a whole step before going to your flat 3rd. And then the same thing over here. So again, this is a whole step apart. So knowing when you're at the very end, that if you just do that note that's between the whole step, you now have the natural minor. So technically, if you think about it, by knowing the minor pentatonic scale, we can just pop 2 notes in. And by the way, you guys probably already know this, we can pop 1 or 2 notes in and also turn it into the blue scale, right? So the blue note normally is a flatted 5, which is the tritone, right here in between the perfect 4th and the perfect 5th. So we also, I didn't even mention that one in knowing this, but by knowing the minor pentatonic, knowing where that flatted 5 is, and because we're singing our scale degrees, right? You've been doing that. Because we're doing that, we know exactly where it is, because when we get to 4, we can just do a flatted 5 between the 4 and the 5. And that's the blue note. And that's what essentially makes the minor pentatonic into the blue scale. Some folks also add a 7 in here for the blue scale too, and that's just another, that's basically your leading tone or a passing tone which leads into your root, and blues players use that a lot. So those are good to know. But anyway, you can see now how we've kind of locked down the minor pentatonic and used that to also work for the minor scale in general. Here's where some of the magic is that I was finding out, that I sort of had an understanding of this, but I really didn't totally understand where it was until the other day when I tried playing the major pentatonic scale, and then I realized, holy crap, I'm playing the minor pentatonic. It's just that all I've done is I've shifted it. And what that shift is 3 half steps, or a whole and a half step, 3 frets on the guitar, right? So essentially, if I'm in this shape and I shift 3 half steps, I'd be right there, right? Which is up here. This is the major pentatonic. And so this would be my 1 though. Instead of having my 1 over here, it becomes up there with that. But it's the same shape. So when I play shape 2 minor pentatonic, that's sort of like shape 1 of the major pentatonic. And you'll see what I mean when you get on your guitar and shift, so that when you're in shape 1, shift to shape 2, and you'll be playing major pentatonic. But for now, I just want you to understand that this is this. It's just that it's shifted 3 half steps. So on your guitar, just imagine this. If you're on the G and you back your finger up, your pointer finger back 3 frets, you'll now be playing that same shape, but you'll be playing it in major pentatonic. And so that's why I say shape 2 kind of takes the place of shape 1, because it's a complete shift. So shape 2 sort of moves over to where shape 1 was. You need your guitar to kind of look at this, and like I said, later on we'll go in more in depth to cover that. But now that we know, so we absolutely know major pentatonic, and you'll see what I mean when you get on your guitar, but we know it beyond a shadow of a doubt. It's just that we need to do that shift. So it'll take a little getting used to, but we've already memorized the patterns. That's the beauty of this. So it's going to be a very easy transition when we go to major pentatonic in the next couple weeks. Then here's the cool thing about major pentatonic, and this one maybe is even easier than the minor scale because there's no flat or sharp in the major scale or in the major pentatonic scale when it comes to scale degrees. So a major pentatonic is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, right? It skips the perfect fourth and it skips the 7. But the major scale has to include those because it has all of the scale degrees, 1 through 7, without any flats, like I said. So essentially, once you know major pentatonic, you also know the major scale, because we'll easily be able to fit in a half step here to the fourth, right? Because we know from a major third to a perfect fourth is a half step. And then over here, there's a whole step to 7. So again, and this will be a half step from the root, by the way. That's one thing that makes it very easy. The 7 is very easy to know because you just play the note before the root note. So as you can see, and I know maybe this is a little bit muddy at this stage, pick up your guitar though and tinker with it a little bit and see if you don't see exactly what I'm saying. The mind-blowing experiment here is the fact that by understanding minor pentatonic completely and knowing all the patterns all over the fretboard, we also know the Aeolian mode, we know the Ionian mode or major scale, and we know the major pentatonic scale. And I think this is pretty awesome. So hopefully you guys agree and got something out of this lesson. I can't wait to see you all next week, and soon we will be talking about the major pentatonic and jumping down that rabbit hole. Thanks.